Welcome to our next edition of the Foundation Speaker Series. My name is Michelle Warofka. Today, I am very excited to spend some time with Mr. Nick Carter. Nick is the president and owner of Pro Quality Cleaning, a company he founded in 2009. Pro Quality Cleaning is a full-service janitorial company that provides a wide variety of services in the cleaning and sanitation industry. It's headquartered in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, with regional offices also in Exton, Pennsylvania, and Stewart's Drafts, Virginia. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today, Nick.
Thank you, Michelle. I definitely appreciate being here, and it is an honor to be asked to do this. Thank you.
Truly, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for doing this. Now, Nick, let's start out by telling us a little bit more about your company, Pro Quality Cleaning, and the many services that you provide.
Yes, that's a great question. Well, as you said, we are a full-service cleaning and janitorial company. We have approximately about 100 employees here in just the Mechanicsburg area. And the services that we offer include routine office cleaning, routine cleaning in industrial facilities, in schools. We have a lot of school contracts, in medical facilities, and other professional office buildings. Pretty much the only type of commercial facility that we do not service are retail facilities, but that's for different reasons. We also provide services in special services, such as floor stripping and waxing, carpet cleaning, tile and grout cleaning, window cleaning. We can provide those either ongoing or one time. Now with our janitorial services, the one thing I like about it is that it's ongoing. For most of our customers, we provide services either 5 days a week or 3 days a week or 1 day a week. It's really whatever the customer wants, and frequency is what we provide. And so that's pretty much a general overview of the services that we provide.
Wow, wonderful services. A lot of the great services.
It is.
Great. Now, in your introduction, I had mentioned that you started the company in 2009. What made you want to open up your own business, Nick?
That's a funny story. I literally fell into the cleaning industry. My background is the Army. For those who don't know, I spent 5 years in the Army after doing ROTC. I was in the Army from 2002 to 2007. And after I left the Army, I was in corporate world as a warehouse manager for about a year. But in 2008, I realized that I did not like the corporate world. I worked for a great company. I just did not like what I did. And so I took a risk, a chance to take a sales job with a building material supply company. Now, this was in 2008, in the beginning of a housing recession, and it was my first sales job, and bad combination, just did not work out. And so my mom had a small cleaning company down in Virginia at the time, and she said, "Hey, Nick, I need some help with my cleaning service. Do you want to come down for some extra money?" I definitely need some money, and I needed something to do because my sales job wasn't working out. And so I helped her on the weekends, and I quickly realized that it was just a great opportunity to start my own business. And so after helping her on the weekends for just like 3 to 4 weeks, I realized, I can really do this. So I did some brainstorming and started Pro Quality Cleaning from scratch. Went on LegalZoom, created the legal entity, printed out my own business cards, and just started going door to door. And I quickly fell in love with the business, but it was not something that I planned on doing. But once I saw the opportunity that was there, I was able to thankfully quickly seize upon that. So it was a very interesting start, I guess you could say.
Well, that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Now, if you could tell us, I mentioned in the introduction, obviously you founded the company and you're the president of the company. Can you share with our viewers what some of the roles and responsibilities are as a president, and maybe even kind of describe a typical day?
Sure. Well, as the president, not only the president, but also the owner, I am ultimately responsible for everything that happens or fails to happen with my business. That means I'm responsible for the actions of other people and the mistakes of other people. And number one, to be successful, I have to take accountability and responsibility for that. So I would say that the number one job as the president and the owner is to build up a team, because it's not just about me. I want to make sure that I've got a team in place to manage the business, but also that all my team members are doing what they're supposed to be doing to the standards that I want them done. So there's obviously a lot of management, and it covers every aspect of my business, and the sales aspect and the operations, the admin. I just have to make sure that we are hitting on all cylinders. And when we're hitting on all cylinders, then that means things are running smooth. So the typical day, there really is no typical day. It depends on what we have going on. I guess ideally I try and spend most of my time on sales and growing the business. And that is a big, one of my personal responsibilities is sales, because I'm my own company's best salesman, which I am going to be growing the sales team here shortly, but that's a different story. So a typical day is either meeting with potential customers to grow the business and developing proposals, or meeting with current customers to put out any fires that might be happening, any crises that might be happening, which happens, or it might have a quiet day at the office. But one of the things that I absolutely enjoy at this point, 11 years in the business, is having the ultimate freedom with my time, that I can determine what I do with my time. But with that freedom comes responsibility. And if I want to run a successful business, I have to be responsible with that freedom of time. If that makes sense.
Well said. Absolutely. Very good. Now, if you could kind of take us back I want to talk a little bit about your educational pathway. I know you had mentioned previously that you served in the Army, which we thank you very much for your service. Thank you. But if you could kind of tell us a little bit more about that educational pathway and elaborate on that a little bit more, please.
Sure. Well, I went to Penn State, great school if anyone's considering it. And, when I was in college, I had no intention. Well, my first couple years in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do with a career. And I didn't even actually plan on joining the Army, at least not my freshman, sophomore year in college. But thankfully, I picked economics. And so I studied economics as my major, and I minored in political science. And economics, there are different business fields. You have economics, you have management, you have logistics. What I liked about economics is that it gave me a strong foundation to understanding how the economy works, how business works. And because I understood economics, anything I do in business with supply and demand, with pricing, everything, it makes sense. And there are other courses that I took as well in management. But that was my core background. Now, ironically enough, I did RTC in the Army, but I did RTC in college for my junior and senior year. But once I commissioned into the Army, I didn't use economics at all for my entire time in the Army for 5 years. But when I got out of the service in 2007, thankfully, I kind of fell back on that degree because I had that business background. In schooling, I was able to pick up business relatively quick.
Great. Thank you for kind of walking us through that. That's helpful information. Now, based on your educational pathway, did you anticipate being where you are today? And is this where you thought you'd be? How or when perhaps did you know that this was the career path that you wanted to pursue? You're the founder, the president and owner of a company, but how did you know when you wanted what you wanted
well, I knew this was the career path for me once I started making money. I'll be honest with you.
Hey.
That definitely helps. But before that, I had no clue I had no intention of starting a cleaning company. Even, growing up when I was in the Army, even when I worked in corporate world in my late 20s, I didn't even know what a cleaning company was. I had no plans for this, but because of a risk that I took in leaving the corporate world and then starting a sales job, I took a risk that failed, but I was keeping my eyes open. I wasn't panicking, and thankfully, my mom introduced me to the industry, and I was able to, because I had a family to support. I, had a wife, well, still have a wife. I had a young daughter at the time, and mortgage to pay. I had to support my family, and so when I first started the cleaning business, Pro Quality Cleaning in 2009, it's not because I had a plan. I didn't. I'll be honest with you. I just knew that I could clean, and I knew I needed money, and so I did what I needed to do. And because I was willing to do that, I was able to swallow my pride. Other opportunities opened up, and I stuck with it. And I saw that there was a lot of opportunity because, every building needs cleaned by somebody. So when someone is thinking about starting a business, their own business, it's not about how sexy the business is at all, whatsoever. It's about how in demand the service is, and can you make it a profitable business? And so I saw that in the janitorial and the cleaning industry. And I've always loved the service field. When I was in high school, I did start a landscaping business, mowing lawns. And I think that really set the stage, even though I didn't know it at the time. I did not know it, but that set the stage for my entrepreneurial career when I got older, because I enjoy going to different, customers, mowing their yard with my own lawnmower and trailer and coming back. And so with the cleaning business, when I started that, it kind of like came back to me. So I think when I saw that and saw the opportunity, that's when I knew it was for me.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's all about experiences that kind of open up the door to other opportunities. So, wow, great. Now, what kind of classes or courses should somebody consider when preparing for this career?
Well, in my career specific, good question. In my career specifically, in the janitorial and cleaning field, although people may not realize it, there are a lot of educational certifications available. Even at the executive level. Like I personally hold the Certified Building Service Executive designation, which is pretty hard to achieve, and it's for the cleaning field. There are also other lower level technical certifications that are available for carpet cleaning, for stripping and waxing. For someone who's not familiar with the cleaning field, that they can actually go and learn. There's a lot of cleaning organizations that have learning opportunities. So thankfully, when I started the cleaning business, I really took the initiative to seek those opportunities out, to seek those organizations out. And I took the initiative to study and learn. And that's why we are as successful as we are today. But what I'll tell people is, no matter what your educational background is in high school or college, if you want to start a business in a different field, don't let a lack of knowledge necessarily hold you back, because there are ways and opportunities to learn whatever field it is that they want to start a business in.
Fantastic. Absolutely. And I think you bring up a great point as well, that you never stop learning.
No, you never stop. That's the biggest thing is never stop learning. I'm 40 and I seek out learning opportunities everywhere I can. I think people who think they know it all or just don't want to take the initiative to learn, it's really going to hold them back, whether they know it or not.
Well, and that's a true testament to why your business is so successful. So kudos to you for your wonderful leadership and your drive to grow the business. Now, Nick, I'm curious, what is it that you, and I imagine there's a number of things here, but what is it that you enjoy most about your job? You're very enthusiastic about all of your efforts and such, but what if you had to pick one or two things, what would be the most enjoyable part of your job?
Well, believe it or not, I do enjoy the responsibility of being responsible for the entire business. It's not always fun, but it's what I get a lot of satisfaction out of, because it gives me an opportunity to do things right. So that's one thing that I personally enjoy is responsibility. Number two is being able to run my own company how I best see fit, and having the freedom of time to do that. Now, it's not been easy. Like, someone can't just start a business and think it's going to be a cakewalk and they have this ultimate freedom from day one, because it's a lot of work. And in the early days, it was a lot of work. Most people would not be willing to put that work in, but I enjoy the freedom of time to do what I best see fit for the business, and just the opportunities to grow the business. We just opened up a second office over in Exton, which is in Chester County. It's a regional office. I just hired a new regional manager to manage our office in Mechanicsburg, and that frees me up to open up a new regional office. And so just the opportunity that is there is what I enjoy.
Wonderful. Now, what skills and qualities, or even talents for that matter, are necessary to be an entrepreneur, somebody who's looking maybe to open up their own business like you, or just a strong leader in general?
Yes. Number one, be willing to learn. Number two, be willing to make mistakes. Be willing to make mistakes, as long as you're willing to learn from them and grow from them. I think mistakes is the best teaching tool in life, because you're learning. Another thing is to be willing to take calculated risks. If I was not willing to leave the corporate world when I was 28 and making a really, really good salary. Again, it was a salary. I couldn't go up. If I wasn't willing to do that, to take a sales job, then I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now. So I think in order to be a leader, you have to be willing to do that.
Wonderful tips. Absolutely. Now, if you could tell us, Nick, perhaps, some of our viewers here are, they're in high school in many cases and trying to think about life after high school and prepare for post-secondary success in education and or work. What would be some tips and advice that you would offer those viewers, and perhaps maybe even share with you some of the best advice you've ever received?
Sure. Well, when it comes to deciding a college and what you study, I'll say this. It's not as important where you go, like whether you go to an Ivy League school or a Big Ten school or a community college. That's not nearly as important as what you study. So I would strongly encourage people to be as smart as possible in deciding what to study than being set on going to an expensive school. Number one. What's the second part of your question again?
The best advice that you've ever received.
Okay, yes. The best advice I've ever received. Be the best version of yourself that you can. You don't want to compete against other people in life, professionally, unless you're in sports. Unless you're in sports, you're not competing against other people. In business, professionally, personally, the only person you're competing against is yourself. So just be the best version of yourself. That's the best advice I think I received, and best advice I think I can pass on.
Be the best you can be.
That's right.
That's right. I love it. Now, finally, as we wrap things get ready to wrap things up here, I know that, Nick, volunteering is a big part of your life. You've been an active participant in the Pennsylvania Free Enterprise Week program. In fact, you were a student at PFEW when you were in high school, and for several years now, you've been a volunteer mentor to students at that program. I've mentored many students, hundreds at this point. You've been a perennial speaker at our program as well as a donor. How did your participation in PFEW back in high school impact you, and why does it continue to be so important to you now, even many years later?
Excellent. Well, I'm so thankful for the opportunity when I was in high school to go, because it really opened up my eyes to the business world. I remember we played the stock market game and running a mock company with 15 or 16 other people. It was just a really good experience. And I think no matter what someone wants to do with their life, no matter what they want to study, whether it's sports, good in sports, or go into politics or business, PFEW will set a strong foundation for doing that, because they get to learn about teamwork. They get to learn about business. So there's about leadership. They will learn so much more about leadership by going. And a big reason why I want to be involved is because, I want to be, there's a saying out there, be the change you want to see in the world. That's my way of doing that. It's my way of giving back to the business community. And I feel invigorated every summer after working with high schoolers, because you hear a lot of people try and be negative about today's society, and I don't think it's true, because every year that I see these kids, these kids are awesome, and I see such a bright future with these kids. And so I want to be a part of that. And if I can be a part of someone's life to help mentor them and teach them about life lessons and leadership lessons and business lessons, then yeah, to me, I enjoy that.
Well, and we thank you very much for your commitment and passion for our program, and giving up time away from your business to come and be at our program each summer and mentor students and prepare them for their future. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
That's a pleasure. And let me just kind of wrap things up here and thank you again, Nick, for taking the time to be with us here today. It's truly been an honor and pleasure to spend this time with you. You've done a wonderful job here today sharing with our viewers the importance of finding their true passion, as well as the important steps one can take to be a successful entrepreneur like yourself. And truly, there's no doubt about it. With your expert insight, tips, and advice shared today, we'll set our viewers up for great success in forming the business of their dreams, and
awesome.
with confidence. So finally, if you'd like to connect with Nick directly, his contact information will follow at the conclusion here of this interview. And I know Nick would love to connect with you. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you.